Hey everybody, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. So, as you see, here we have my 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 3500, and right behind it, my Grand Design trailer. And the reason this truck is here is because of that trailer over there. So this is the first tow. Let's go see how it does.
Alrighty folks, we're all hooked up and we're towing, and right now we are merging onto the 401. This is a major highway here in Ontario, and I mean, that's the best test I think we can get, Dad, is pulling this thing up to highway speeds to see how it compares to the Ram 2500 that Dad's coming out of. And just a quick recap, the whole issue with the Ram wasn't power, it wasn't braking, it was just that it would get a bit of a weird harmonic resonance thing kind of going on where it would start to wallow back and forth, and it never felt that good. So, you know, Dad upgraded to this mainly to get rid of the coils out of the back and move to leaf springs, but it's also a bigger truck. It's got the 8-foot bed, longer wheelbase, and more power. So you kind of improved just about everywhere, and way more payload. That was the other hitch. The 2500 only had about 2,100 pounds of payload. 2500 had 2,100 pounds of payload. I think I said that right. And then this truck has 3,800 pounds of payload. So the pin weight on this Grand Design is right around 2,200. There you go, 2,250.
So in other words, I was over on the Ram?
Yeah, with just the pin weight.
Whereas here we got 1,500 pounds to spare.
So the numbers make way more sense here. And we're doing 110 kilometers an hour, Dad, so turn it over to you now.
Well, that was the thing. At 80K or 50 miles an hour in the Ram, it was fine. It's when you got north of 50 miles an hour that things started happening. Also, if you hit crosswinds. This particular trailer is very tall. It's 13 foot 5 inches. A commercial 18-wheeler is 13.6. So, you know, it's like having a big piece of plywood getting pushed back and forth. So, all that being said, and then on top of that, the entire load is sitting on coil springs. Yeah, there was just a lot of dancing around, and not the good kind. So, it made for, I mean, it was controllable, I did it, but man, it just made for such a twitchy ride that I was just white-knuckling it the whole time, and that is anything but a relaxing experience, and supposedly I was on vacation. So, after getting home with that, I said, okay, we're going to try something different, and so here we are now in the 3500 Chev.
Dad, what's going on in here, man? We got truck videos to shoot.
You seem to forget that Harry's is sponsoring this video, so I got to look presentable.
Gotcha. Okay, well, how's the shave going then?
Well, I got to tell you, this thing's got 5 blades. I'm using their gel, and I haven't shaved for a week because I hate shaving. So it's tearing this bad boy out all right, and it's not hurting, so I'm happy.
That's good news. And where'd you pick that stuff up?
So actually, I found this at Walmart, which was awesome because I remember back in the day when they were only online.
Yeah, no, it's in all kinds of stores, which is great too. Walmart, Kroger's, grocery stores, drugstores, and maybe most importantly, Costco, because for the month of January, you're gonna get $8 off the Winston set. So if you wanna save a couple bucks, yeah, head to Costco right now and you can get not just the blades, but all the other care products as well.
Well, that's fair, because gotta look smooth.
Well, when you're finally finished, come back outside, because we got lots more trucks to make videos about.
Yeah, okay, you just get going. So, Leah, do I look presentable?
Looks beautiful.
Well, thanks, Harry's. Let's go tow.
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell you from the passenger seat, it's definitely different. That's the first thing I'll say. This truck does not feel like it's being pushed around by the trailer as much as the Ram did. You just don't feel it back there as much. On the flip side, maybe it's a negative, but it's just a difference. This truck is definitely stiffer than the Ram. It just has a little bit more chatter coming over the bumps. It's not quite as, comfortable, I would say. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter as much as sort of safety. And just from over here, this feels like a much more buttoned down combination.
It is what I expected, though, but you're absolutely right. It's a stiffer ride. It's a harder ride. When you hit a pothole in this thing, you know it. So all the benefits of the coil spring as far as like a better ride goes out the window. However, when it comes to supporting weight, I don't think you can beat the leaf springs, and that's why we're doing that this time around.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of a little bit windy out today, Dad, too, so you are getting a bit of that crosswind. And again, I don't feel any of that side to side whatsoever.
No, none at all. And as soon as I get some of these yo-yos out of my way, we're going to wind this up to about 75 miles an hour, about 120K, and then we shall see, because I couldn't get the Ram really much over 110, 65 miles an hour max, before it would start
sketchy.
Just wiggling and dancing and doing bad things.
So let's talk power real quick, coming from the Cummins to the Duramax. And again, the one thing I want to comment on right away is this Duramax is so quiet, ridiculously quiet. Some might say too quiet, because the Cummins has such a nice, pronounced diesel exhaust note. Just something about that i6 sounds so good. This engine, I don't want to say it sounds bad, but you just don't really hear it at all. So I think this is a personal preference thing. If you're asking me, I think I like the Cummins a little better, but I don't know what you think.
No, listen, I got no issue with the Cummins. I did not trade out of the Ram because of the Cummins.
Yeah.
That to me is probably the crowning glory of that truck, is that engine. It's the rest of the truck that I had an issue with, so like get that right out there. But the other part of what you're talking about here is that the soundproofing in this cab is simply superior to the Ram.
Yeah, overall, you're right. And then, what about straight up power-wise? I mean, you got 975 pound-feet of torque now. You got more than the Ram. What does it feel?
Yeah, you certainly notice it. When you kick it, it goes. Not to mention 6-speed transmission in the old truck, 10-speed in this one. So, and most of those gears are down low.
Yeah.
So when you kick it, she goes.
Nice. Now a little more on powertrain. We should mention the exhaust brake, because this is another area where the Chevy honestly just feels weak. We're in tow haul mode. It was shifting rather aggressively for us, which I like to see. When we were coming down a hill, it was really downshifting aggressively. But the exhaust brake, you kind of barely feel it. Once again, in comparison to the Cummins and even the Super Duty, which we recently tested, I would put this as the worst or least effective exhaust brake in the segment.
It's not wonderful. However, they're making better use of their gears, because when you're in tow haul mode and you're on a grade and you sort of hit the brake hard, it will purposely downshift and then hold that downshift.
Yes.
So you notice that coming down our steep hill from the house, that it dropped down 2 gears and then it just held that. And that was probably more effective than the engine brake.
Yeah. Well, and you wound it up there to 115, and you've been able to talk and drive it with one hand. So I think that right there kind of suggests.
I got no hands.
Yeah.
It's truly. Here's the big thing. It's solid. It's just solid, right?
Yeah. None of that wallowy feeling.
And again, the other part of that, let's also throw this in there. This is an 8-foot bed, which means it's sitting on the longest wheelbase.
Right, 172 inches is the wheelbase.
That GM offers.
Right.
And you know what? Best towing rig, long and low.
Yep.
So it's a combination of all these things. So in other words, this time around, when I went to the drawing board, I went, okay, let's get all those things that are going to make this a really, really good tow rig. Because, I go right across the country. I ended up out in California last year. So, we put a lot of miles on here in the wintertime, and then back into Arizona, back into Texas. This year we're going to go all through Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, back out towards Texas, maybe up to New Mexico. So we do a lot of miles, and I just want to be comfortable.
Yep, fair enough. So Dad, again, coming out of the Ram, I know you mentioned some things about the mirrors. So talk to me about your towing mirrors here on the Chevy. What do you like and what do you don't like?
I like the Ram mirrors because they're tall.
Yeah, those are the flip-out manual mirrors.
Exactly, and I got no problem with manual. So, however, they're tall, and this is a tall trailer, and you need to be looking up.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like in this one, for me to see anywhere near the top of the trailer, I gotta duck way down because they're not that tall. However, huge convex mirror.
Yeah.
In fact, the convex mirror is so large that it does not distort as much as a smaller convex does, meaning that I can also use it for backing up quite accurately.
Nice.
So that part of it I like.
Yeah, and they're powered now, so manual was fine, but now you don't got to get out. You just hit a button and out they go.
Yep, they are powered. These are also self-darkening.
Yeah, nice.
And the only thing that's interesting is that in the Ram, I had a power adjustment for the convex, whereas I don't have that in the GM. And considering I got just about everything else in here, and the other truck was only a Bighorn, so just like one above base.
Yeah.
I think this is all about microchip shortages.
Yeah, fair enough, because you are correct. At this price point, I would expect to have all powered mirrors as well.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a big whoop-de-doo, but it's interesting how it kind of sticks out that was a 2019 truck, and I had it, and over here, I don't.
Yep. So now we should talk about the hitch as well, because again, this hitch we're using, the Curt Crosswing, the main reason you got it was because you had the short bed on the Ram, right? And now we have the long bed. So I guess, why don't you tell people what the plan is for the hitch?
So the Crosswing, the idea was that because of this type of trailer, the Grand Design has a very forward design, a bulbous nose, and the other truck only had the 6'4" bed, which gave me a really tight turning radius. And as I discovered last winter, it will contact the back of the cab if you're not paying attention. So that was a $1,000 mistake. So I got the Crosswing primarily for two reasons. One, it's easy to handle by yourself. It's lighter. And secondly, it has an 8.5-inch rearward offset. So it actually gave me 8.5 more inches. It was like having a 7-foot bed rather than a 6'4" bed.
Sure.
Bad news is that it put more weight behind the axle, so that may also have been part of my problem. So just to see the difference, right now, at this moment, we're towing with that Crosswing. So this is the exact same hitch that I used all last winter. I stuck it in here just to see how it felt on this truck, and it's night and day in terms of being on the 8-foot bed versus being on that 6'4" bed.
Yeah.
And of course 2,500 versus 3,500. But, and as I think you mentioned a little bit earlier, you can feel the weight sort of sitting further back.
Yeah. It feels like it's hanging off the bumper almost, and the truck has an almost level attitude. The nose is a little up, it's squatting a bit. So I think even moving it, forward back 8 inches, it might even help you with a bit of the squat and spreading the weight out a little bit.
So we have gotten a new hitch from Curt, a more traditional fifth wheel style hitch, 4-leg fifth wheel, and working with the factory puck system. So that'll be the next thing now, is we'll get this hitch out of here, drop the new hitch in, hook up, and do this whole route again and see how that feels.
Yeah, that'll be interesting too. That'll be another video, but that'll definitely be interesting to feel whether it was the hitch. But based on what we're feeling now, I don't think you can blame the hitch for what you were feeling in the Ram, because this is not feeling the same.
No, and you know what? And in some ways, I kind of vindicate the Crosswing because I like so many things about it.
Same.
And if I hadn't gotten a new hitch, I could easily use this one, just judging by what we just did, because we are running at highway speed. We've been in traffic, up and down hills, and nothing. It's rock solid.
Feels good.
It's a good platform. Okay, folks, that's it for this one. We spent about an hour towing with the new truck, old hitch, on my trailer there. So far, everything is working as I expected. Next thing, swap out the Crosswing, put in the brand new hitch from Curt, and do the whole thing over again. But hey, that's the next video. So in the meantime, go below, hit like, hit subscribe. Become a member of our channel and join. We need a few bucks, okay? And remember to hit that notification bell. And we'll see you real soon.